is a podcast on marriage. So there's plenty of arguments really for both. There's plenty of arguments for marriage and also for against marriage. But actually in the end you'll see here that against marriage probably was her only option. So the biggest reason she should have been getting married was to get some sort of heir for the throne, a male heir or a female heir. Or at least it would leave somebody who was a Protestant on the throne after her. And of course, if she didn't get married, the Tudor line would come to an end. And in those days, because they thought women were weak, the Parliament really believed she needed a strong male ruler to help her have a successful rule. Now, that's a bit unfair really, because actually Elizabeth did a really good job on her own, but at this point, when she first comes to the throne, nobody expects that. So they also thought, Parliament thought she should get married because the men would have experience sort of in military campaigns and more experience in politics and things like that. So they thought that really Elizabeth would lack that. And remember, she hadn't grown up thinking she was going to come to the throne of England. So it was a major concern to try and get her married. And in those days as well, another major reason to marry was to make an ally with another country. So even if you didn't like Spain or whatever, the idea would be you'd marry into Spain because they were the strongest country in the world, or you'd marry into France because they were all so strong, or you'd marry into, another country that was a Protestant country possibly. So the whole idea was to make your country safe by making alliances through marriage. That's why a lot of the, the younger princesses and princes and things got married off when they were really young to try and form alliances with other countries. So certainly there was plenty of arguments why Elizabeth really should have looked to get married. And certainly, a key advisor, Cecil, was really for her making some sort of marriage. He was worried what would happen if she didn't. But remember, it isn't straightforward for Elizabeth I. There are plenty and plenty of arguments about why she shouldn't get married. First of all, think what she must have thought about what happened to her mother. A mother who had been deeply in love with Henry VIII, like he had been with her, he ended up having her executed on false charges. So surely that will have had some impact on her perception of what marriage would actually be. Another reason why she was against marriage was she was worried that as soon as she married, whoever it would be, King Philip II of Spain or the Duke of Anjou or Robert Dudley, whoever it was, then they would become her master and she would lose control of Britain, of England. She'd basically seen that happen with Mary. Mary I had married Philip II of Spain, and unfortunately he bled the treasury dry in England. He hardly ever visited her. He treated her like absolute dirt. So again, she would be concerned about that. And also, who would she marry? She couldn't please them. If she married an English nobleman like Robert Dudley, who she was actually in love with, other noble families in England would get jealous, and then obviously people would be, enemies of him. So what on earth could she do, about that? If she married King Philip II of Spain, who was interested in marrying her, like absolutely definitely was, then he was a Catholic, and he certainly just wanted to marry her so he could rule England still. That's the only reason he was interested in her. And also people like the Duke of Anjou, again from France, which was a Catholic country. So all of these things became major, major problems for her. She couldn't see how it was going to help marrying somebody she genuinely thought, I don't see how I can please people here. And although she knew it could make alliances, she also felt England could then become less powerful, because obviously Spain would be more powerful than England, or France would become more powerful than England, obviously if she married into another country. And something absolutely not to forget here, childbirth was really, really dangerous. Don't forget that. A lot of women died during childbirth or died from childbed fever a few days after. So the problem Elizabeth had, obviously she knew that probably she should get married and have an heir, but she was also concerned about that. So there was lots of reasons why marriage was a really difficult thing for her.